Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Dan. We're going to be talking in this video about the piano roll in Logic and basically utilizing different sort of tools that you can use regarding your MIDI data. So we're going to look at like transposing your MIDI. We might look at quantizing the MIDI and just different functions that you can use within your MIDI roll essentially. Okay, so if you're not sure what the MIDI roll is yet, bear with me and I will show you. So I'm going to start with a software instrument. I'm going to go to my sampler and I'm going to grab the piano just because it's nice and easy and it sounds alright. So EXS24, as I've said in previous videos, when he comes up, it gives you the library here. So we want to go factory, I'm going to go acoustic pianos and I'm going to click the classical piano. Give it a sec to load. Here we go. Right, so we got a classical piano. Bring up my little keyboard here. Go a bit higher than that. Yeah, so there's the piano sounds, right? So now I'm going to record in some random MIDI. Hopefully by now you should know how to record in some MIDI. But let me just do that quick. So okay, I'm going to have to do something better than that. That was awful. Let me just go simple. Okay, very basic, very boring. But what we need to look at is the MIDI stuff. So we've recorded in some MIDI. It doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound in time. So we need to edit this MIDI. So to do that, we want to double click on the MIDI region here. Here we are, wait for it to load up. And now we can see all of our individual MIDI notes here down the bottom in what's called a MIDI roll, okay? So this is a piano roll or MIDI roll or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, basically we're looking within the MIDI region so we can edit our MIDI notes, okay? So some things that you can do with your MIDI notes. First thing that you need to know, and probably do know already, but I'll explain it again, is the quantize feature, okay? So if I want to get these notes in time, okay, as you can see right now, they're not all on the grid, they're all quite inaccurate. So we want to get these all onto the grid and snap in time. Yeah, so I played my notes in 16th notes. You can tell by the divisions, you know, we're at 16th note divisions here. So I want to quantize these onto the grid, and that's the term we use, quantize, snaps your MIDI notes onto the grid. So if you go here, time quantize, there's a little Q button. Okay, so before we look at that, you might want to sort of figure out what note lengths you're putting in. So I know these are 16th notes, yeah, but if it was 8th notes, I could change it to 8th notes, quarter notes, you know, and if you're doing a lot of notes, you can go to 64s. You have your triples down there if you're clued up on your sort of, you know, different time signatures and whatnot. But if you're just starting off basic, you know, 16th notes is usually the one where you're going to end up on. Okay, so yeah, 16th note divisions. Okay, I won't talk to you about any of this stuff. You just press Q once everything's highlighted. So you highlight it like that. Alternatively, you can press Command and A and it'll highlight everything. And you just press Q. Okay, and you just saw them snap on to the grid. This first one, however, has not snapped onto the grid. It has gone backwards because it was so out of time in the first place. So I just drag and drop that one. Now you can see yeah, so they're all in time. Yeah, they're all green at the minute. So the color of the MIDI notes is representative of the velocity of the hit. So let's mess about with some velocities. So let's say we want our first one to be quite loud. Okay, if we hit it and come down here to where it says velocity, we can change our velocity here. That's one way to change the velocity of the note. Yeah, so if I put it down low, really quiet. If I put it middle, yeah, so all these right now are set to 98. So you can go through one by one and you can edit them this way. Or what you can alternatively do is click, I believe it's this one. Yeah, you click on this here, the three little lines with the dots next to them, and this is going to give you a sort of menu underneath where you can change various MIDI parameters. Okay, so right now it's set to note velocity, which is great for us because that's what we're changing. Yeah, so now I can basically just grab each note and move it along. Alternatively, you can draw lines like this. So if you want like an increase in velocity towards the end, you might draw a line like that. And we get... Yeah, so that's one way to change your velocities. When this menu is open down the bottom, I believe you can right click. Okay, yeah, so you can right click and you can change which parameter this menu is actually affecting. You can also do it here. Okay, so if I wanted to change the pitch bend of one of the notes, if I wanted to change various things within the sampler. So yeah, so basically this is all of the sort of sampler / MIDI parameters that you can control here. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Portamento, time, breath. Yeah, I won't get into any of these just yet, okay? But note velocity can be changed here. Other things we can do with our MIDI. Right, let's just go to that a little bit. Yeah, so if we select all our MIDI, we can do some functions, okay? So we go to functions, go to MIDI transform. Here is a whole bunch of things you can do with your MIDI just automatically by clicking the button, okay? So you can double speed, half speed. Humanize is good. Humanize is going to basically like randomize your velocities and I think where the note lands as well, because obviously when a human plays a piano, there are tiny little, you know, errors that can't be heard when listening, but those errors actually make it sound more natural. So humanize, if I click humanize, it's just going to sort of give me some options. I won't go into all these right now, but if I press select and operate, get rid of that. Now you can see the velocities have kind of randomized a bit, so it's not following my straight line anymore, they're kind of up and down. Yeah, so the humanize function is just going to slightly randomize all your notes as well. From here you can do things like transposition, so pitch reverse. So if I go to transposition, yeah, it's going to allow me to basically go up or down in pitch. So if I want to go up by a fifth, for example, I go to 7 because 7 semitones is a fifth in music theory. If you don't know that, don't panic. Let's go up by an octave, 12. So I press select and operate. And now, so my MIDI notes have now transposed up an octave. Yeah. So when you've got your MIDI notes selected, you go to functions, MIDI transform. You can do a bunch of stuff there. Okay. You can also do a bunch of stuff in edit. So I've got all my MIDI notes selected. I can transpose here. I can go up or down a semitone or up and down an octave. Joining notes. You know, I won't get into all of that, guys, right now. But basically, once you're down here and you've got your MIDI selected, there's a bunch of features that you can find. MIDI transform is great. And also some of these here. So, you know, the transpose feature is going to be really handy. Alternatively, if you've got MIDI selected, you can hold Alt and press up and down. Oh, bear with me, yeah. So you can hold Alt and press up and down to move all of your notes selected up and down in individual semitones as well. Okay, so that's a bunch of things you can do with MIDI, including changing the velocity and quantizing. Okay, so important ones, guys: velocity and quantize. Yeah, you're not going to want to forget about those. And then some of the more advanced stuff then with the MIDI transform. Yeah, have a fiddle around, experiment, see what comes out. And yeah, good luck to you. See you on the next vid.